faces again. I want to be your friend. I want to be your friend.
Hi, welcome back to the Making Useless Things podcast. I'm Gracie, also known as Making Useless Things, mostly on Tumblr or Instagram. This is my third podcast episode that I'm making here. First off, if you watched the previous one, which was number 2, my apologies. It's not really the best. My energy was really low and it was awkward because my husband was home. So I felt weird talking to a camera, and I don't know, I'm just trying to get used to it. But today I feel good vibes. It is dark and rainy, so the lighting is going to be a little weird, but we're going to work with it. We're going to go with it. I feel cute. I feel ready to do this. Talk to you guys. I hope all of you have been really well. Thank you so much for watching either episode, or even if you watched 5 minutes of it. I really appreciate it. I don't know how they all end up becoming so long-winded. I guess once you sit down to talk, I just keep talking, and then I find I have more to talk about. So I try, like I said last time, I try to make a nice list of everything to discuss. And just to let you know, before we get really into everything, this podcast might be broken up into a little bit of different sections. I might have to film on a couple of different days, but I thought I would sit down today and just see what I could get done. I was hoping to have more projects finished. Life just doesn't work that way. I don't have as much time as I thought I would to do podcasts like this, so whatever. I would like to adjust my setup a tiny bit. Just it'll keep kind of tilting that way. I don't have a tripod or anything, so I just film on my phone. And I'm really big on symmetry, so the fact that there's more space over. Anyways, what have I been up to? Life, I've been up to a lot. I actually work 2 jobs right now. They're both part-time. One of them is a little bit less than part-time, but it's about to pick up. So my life has just gone from 0, I was maybe doing one social event a week, and I didn't have a job, and I was just applying and doing interviews and stuff like that, to full-blown 100% go. I have a crazy social calendar, I have a crazy work calendar, and I still definitely have time. It's just different. I just have to manage it differently. Usually any free time that I have is either going to be getting my house and life under order, so doing anything that is not work related and getting that done, or it's me time. So it's going to be self-help. So it's going to be making sure I shower and wash my hair and brush my teeth, and that I get 45 minutes to sit down and knit, even if that's broken up into 15 different minute sections. But just watching out that I don't get overexhausted, even though my jobs are fairly simple. It is just, it's a little bit taxing to always have to go somewhere and always have to be somewhere, and, always be on. But it's wonderful, and I'm really enjoying my jobs. But we'll see how the summer goes and how keeping up with this podcast kind of goes. So it might end up being more spread out. But I'm really enjoying this format to share my stuff. I'm really enjoying this a lot more than I thought it would. I find it's even if nobody is watching, it's still really helpful for me to kind of see what directions I'm taking with my projects, because I'm forced to sit down and talk cohesively through what I'm making. So I'm finding it really beneficial. So even if you're not into podcasting, I suggest spending some time figuring out what you're doing with your projects. It really helps. Do a pretend podcast. It's wonderful. Other than that, as far as life goes, I don't have any crazy updates. Just lots of work. It's good work though. I have one weird experience to share that happened to me last night. It's really silly and I might cut this out. But I was at Kroger's, which is like a local grocery store here, grocery store chain. And the Kroger's that I go to is next to my work and it's under construction. They're like redoing their floors and it's a huge Kroger's. Like it's like not just a grocery store, they have a pharmacy and clothing. It's more like a Walmart. And so they've been doing this for like a couple months now. They've been renovating. And what they do, I'm usually shopping there at like 9 at night. What they do is they like block certain areas off. And like then they're doing construction and there's like all these workers there and stuff like that. And last night somehow I managed to like get into an area where I don't think I was supposed to be, but nobody said anything. There was no like barriers, no signs posted or anything. And there was tons of people around me who all worked there or who were doing the construction. And then this big metal thing fell on me. It goes on the shelves, like it was like from one of the shelves and somebody was messing with something and it fell and it hit me in the head and like landed on my back because it was about, maybe 4 or 5 feet long. And it hurt. I didn't get hurt, but like it was startling and scary. And I was just like, what? Like that just happened to me? What a weird experience. I'm just trying to buy some bread. So, how bizarre. But like the thing that something fell on me, that's an accident. That's just something that happens. I was not injured. It was totally fine. I walked away. I was just like, ow. But what really made me upset was the fact that nobody said anything. Tons of people saw it happen. There was at least 5 other people standing around who witnessed it, who said nothing. And I was like, I don't know if it's just because I didn't react and I was just like, ow, and I walked away. And I wasn't like, did you see that? Like that thing just fell on me. But nobody was like, hey, is everything okay? Like I saw that thing hit you. Is it cool? It was just a bizarre experience. And then I was just like, who do I talk to? Who do I go be like, yeah, something fell on me. Can I get some free groceries? But even the fact that nobody told me I wasn't supposed to be there. So I was just very bewildered and confused. And I just like tried to find my way out of the situation and just finished my shopping and left. And then to like top the evening off though, when I was checking out, there was this guy next to me who was like, hey, he's like, are you an artist? And I was like, so flattered. And of course I was like, yes, but a hobby artist. And we were talking a little bit. He was a tattoo artist, which was really cool. And that was just, I was like, that was a big little thing that I enjoyed. So I was like, it was a lot of lows and a lot of highs. But caution to anyone who's doing restoration or renovations at a grocery store, put up more signs and tell people to not walk in dangerous areas where heavy objects can fall on them. So, all right, let's move on. I hope all of you have been having a pretty good April so far and then you had a pretty great March. I hope that you're all making wonderful, beautiful things. It is spring, and so I think everything is just like, you just feel the weight being lifted off of you. But as for me, as far as knitting goes, it's a little bit of a struggle because I don't really know what to knit next because it's going to get warm, so I gotta knit some good things. But first I'll talk about what I have finished recently. I shared a pair of sister socks last episode that I was making for my sister-in-law. I already mailed them out to her, so I don't have them to show you, but here is a picture. And those turned out really nice. They were ankle length, and I used pitons. I have a little bit of the yarn. This is not the right color, but it's Paton's Croy socks, and I think it was camo color or something like that. And I really liked it. It's a little bit thicker than normal sock yarn, but I think for the size and just like have a little bit more give, because those are colorwork socks, it really helped and it worked out. And I think I knit them on 3s, which is, that's a pretty big size for a sock, US 3s. But I don't know, just pair of socks, did an afterthought heel on them, and just kind of tried to make it work with all the leftover yarn that I was using. Don't really have much more to say about them, especially since they're not here. We won't dwell on them. And then another project that I finished that was knitting was a beanie hat. I'll also insert a picture here. I had a friend at work who asked me if I could knit him a hat, and I said yes, and he sent me a little inspiration picture. He said he wanted it to be kind of like funky and fun, so I worked up this pattern with the triangles, and he sent me like color inspiration, and I was like, okay, like I'll see what I have, and maybe I'll just order stuff and like I'll do this hat someday. And then lo and behold, I was like working up the little Fair Isle colorwork design, and I looked down in my basket and I was like, oh, I have all the colors that he wants. And so I was able to make it, which was really cool. He was super happy with it. I think I would have liked to do a little bit better on the shaping, because it is kind of like short, but I didn't have as much of the pink yarn as I thought I would. And by the way, all of the yarn is Palette by Knit Picks. I'm sorry I don't know any of the colorways except for the blue one, which is Wonderland Heather. And then maybe the pink is, no, I don't know what the pink is. I just have a lot of palette, and a lot of it is a bunch of different colors. And a lot of them are just like little skeins that have long lost their labels. But it was perfect. It was a perfect springtime project. Nice pastels, you know, and he's like a skater, so he can wear it and look cool any time of the year. So I think he's pretty happy with it. But I already gave it to him, like I said, so I'll have the pictures or whatever there, and I'll try to have it up on my Ravelry, which needs to be updated because I finished some stuff recently. But that is pretty much it for knitting. Yeah, I haven't finished anything else. So I was trying to hold on to stuff so that I could film this, but since filming takes such a long time, sorry, I don't really have anything to show you except what I'm wearing. Yay! So we'll talk about sewing, because that has taken a huge, I don't know, it's taken over. It's what I do now. I sew stuff. I think I shared in the last episode that I was cutting out the Elizabeth Shannon apron by Odacier. She is a pattern designer, and she sells her patterns mostly on Etsy. That's where you could find all of her patterns. So I heard about this pattern via Fat Squirrel Knits, or Fat Squirrel Speaks. I'm sorry, one or the other. The Fat Squirrel podcast, which I love so much. She did an episode about her making 2 different patterns by this lady and the adjustments that she did and stuff. And like I said, I fell in love with it. And I was like, we need more pinafores and aprons in our lives. So I did a like a test piece that I cut out of an old curtain. And I did the open back apron tunic length. I could actually pull out the pattern. But I will stand up a little bit so you guys can see, and then I'll also insert pictures. So this is the finished piece that I did. So I did the test pattern, and then I cut out the finished one in a blue linen from Joann Fabrics. And I did tunic length, so it's like just about mid-thigh on me. It has these wonderful, wonderful pockets for all your goodies, like snacks. And then I did the closed back version, so it is more like a dress. Except for you're definitely going to want to wear stuff underneath because it is a very open on the sides. So if you're not wearing a shirt, everything's going to be hanging out. But this is a wonderful, wonderful piece. I am definitely going to be wearing this all the time. It's super functional for my job, and I am embracing the wrinkle of linen, so it's going to be wonderful in the summer, because I can easily wear a tank top under this and just run around, maybe just put some shorts on, but the pockets are great. I have a little bit of coverage, so because I'm actually working with a wedding florist, so I'll need the accessibility. And so far I've worn it there a lot, and it's great. And also I can wear sweatpants, and it doesn't look like I'm in pajamas. I look cute. But if you're interested in doing an apron pattern, I highly suggest. She also has some pinafores, and I think this pattern is brilliant because it's very versatile. So you can make it as an apron, you can make it as a dress, and she even has versions of it that go all the way down. She varies in length, so it's really easy to modify to fit yourself. And I think anyone will look cute in this, honestly. I think it's something that we should definitely bring back. It's wonderful for in the house, especially because I'm well known for destroying anything cute that I own. I always get food or pasta sauce on it. So it's great to have something to just have a little bit of protection, because I'm like, I don't care what gets on this, I'll just wash it. It's fine. I'll scrub it out. It's supposed to get dirty. That's the plan. But that's all that I have finished. I haven't, like I said, I just haven't had as much time to wrap things up. So let's get into what I am working on currently. I have quite a bit, so let me collect myself, because my notes are a little bit scatterbrained, since some projects I was like, I'm not working on these, or I didn't start when I wrote my notes, and now I have new stuff. So let's start with this one, because this is the most straightforward and simple. I'm keeping it here in this beautiful bag that I made. This is my favorite oversized bag that like fits everything. And I have these big chunky balls of yarn, which I have shared previously. So this is my Nightshift shawl by Andrea Mowry, and I have made progress. So last time I shared this, I had hardly knit anything on it, but now I kind of know what I'm doing with it and what I like about it, and I am having a lot of fun with these colors. They are lovely. Sorry, the color gets a little yellow. Super fun, super fun. I'm in love with this. It's so easy to knit because I went up a needle, 2 needle sizes. I think it calls for 8s, and I'm on 10s now. Just because this yarn is definitely bulky and not worsted weight. So this shawl will probably be closer to a blanket than a shawl. But come winter, who knows? I was like, it's just gonna be pretty, and it's fun to knit, and it's great to be using some cheaper yarn and not feeling like super stressed about it. So, but I have a ton of yarn, so I think I'm gonna stray from the pattern and just knit until it's used up and just make a giant thing. That's why I'm going more towards blanket rather than shawl. Just a weird shaped blanket. So this yarn I got at Michael's. I think it's just loops and threads. Maybe I have the tags. If I have the tags, I'll put what they are, what it is down below here. So, but it's really soft. It's very comfortable. That's why I got it, and I thought it was a fun colors to work with, since everybody does like the fall colorway for this, because that's beautiful and very gorgeous. So I was like, I'll mix it up. I'll do something fun. I'll do something funky. So that's the Nightshift. My next knitting projects I had set aside for a hot second. Still a work in progress, which is my Sun Summoner shawl. This is just a shawl that I'm improvising. It has this little lace detail along the edge, and then this is all seed stitch, and the lace detail also goes down the spine. This is just a triangle shaped shawl, and I am using this yarn by Cornbread and Honey. So that is a local dyer here in Ohio, so that's really cool. She's really close to my hometown. So it's great to be using something like this. The texture is lovely, has a little bit of sparkle. I will say though, this is obviously not enough yarn to do a whole shawl, because I'm thinking of something pretty big. So what I have just started recently is incorporating this dark color. This is a Madeline Tosh colorway. I believe it is the Upside Down. It's from her Stranger Things series, and this is Euro sock, so it goes well with this other like high twisted sock yarn. And I like the idea of bringing in this little bit of black into it. So slowly but surely I'm going to be starting to incorporate it, and I'm going to finish it off with like a nice kind of pointed, maybe something like this, like pointed end. So because the inspiration behind the name, the Sun Summoner, is from Leigh Bardugo's books, the Grisha trilogy. So Alina, from that, she's known as the Sun Summoner because she can summon light. And I was like, well, I'll incorporate some dark for the Darkling because I'm a huge nerd. But I thought it would be fun to kind of play with that idea and see what I could do artistically. There's a good chance that it's gonna not work out at all, because sometimes color work is a little bit difficult when you're knitting back and forth. It's hard to get a good tension. So we'll see how it goes. And you know, this is like 300 stitches, so I don't want to have to take anything out. But it's fun to be doing something that's all my own creativity, and my own project. I haven't done one for a really long time that isn't socks, so it's a good project. It's also living in this other bag that I've made, which has kitties on it and umbrellas, and there's also like glittery hearts, because Japan loves their cats. I don't know. So I think there's only 2 other currents that I'm working on to talk about. Let's see. I think I'll talk about my next knitting projects. I have a couple in the works because I'm trying to actually plan out all of my yarn. So plan my stash is what I'm trying to say. So I like to have a specific project for each of all of the yarn in my stash. And for a while now, I had just been purchasing some stuff, and it didn't really, without any intention. And so I have been working very hard at bringing in intention for all of my yarn. So right now, since I cast off my Sunset Highway, I have a lot of fingering weight yarn left over. and I actually have like 2 good skeins of brown colorways. So I just swatched a little tiny itty bitty swatch for the Ripple crop top. Ooh, I'll put her name in. I forgot her name. She's been all over Instagram lately. Her stuff is so good. And since it's getting a lot warmer, I was like, why not work on a garment that I'm actually going to be able to wear once I finish it? So I'm going to start on that. It's going to be really fun. I'm super excited. And my first mistake was knitting with the proper needle size, which makes my gauge itty bitty tiny baby. So first of all, I'm a fairly tight knitter compared to most people. And second of all, we're going to talk about these needles here, which are Knit Picks. Oh, let's see. I could do the beauty guru thing. Oh, it's probably not going to focus. That's okay. These are Knit Picks interchangeable. They are square. Now, there's nothing wrong with square needles, except for one major issue that everyone should know is that they are essentially a size smaller than what they say. So this is size 4, 3.5 millimeters. That's a lie. This is a US size 3. It's an in-between. It's in between a US 3 and a US 4. And I learned that the hard way because these are my only interchangeables with like, I think they go 4 to 10. So I have been like, when I had to swatch for my Sunset Highway, I was swatching and I didn't understand why I wasn't getting gauge until I actually started measuring these on my little needle measurer, and then I was like, oh, okay, so they're definitely in between. So for me, that means either going up 1 to 2 sizes bigger on my needles. So I think for this crop top, since it is all, it's pretty loose, it's a very loose fitted top, it has a lot of positive ease, and then it's also all ribbing, I'm just going to go up 1 needle size and I should be totally fine. But maybe I should like knock on wood, because I also am not very good at figuring out gauge. So I have only just recently started. I am not an expert. But I do know that if you're getting these square shaped needles from Knit Picks, remember that they're a size in between of regular size. So always start 1 size bigger than you think you need. It will help you out in the end. That way you can get like true gauge. So that I'm really excited about, just to have another garment to work on and know that I'm using up that yarn. So, and I hope to make a couple more of her projects, but I think that's what I'll start with for right now. And then, like I said, I have a lot of this fingering weight yarn, and I really wanted to cast on the Soldana crop top by Caitlin Hunter, till I realized that that's like DK weight yarn, not fingering. So I think I still want to do a cute little colorwork crop top, since I have some fun fingering colors to work with, fingering weight yarn. So I think I'm just going to adapt the Sunset Highway, because I really like the loose fit that gave with the fingering weight and everything like that. So I'm just going to adapt the size and everything, but do a different colorwork pattern and do my own and just kind of improvise, but use that as a base template. And we'll see how we go from there. So, but I will like to use it because there's short rows for the neck on the back, and I just, like I said, I like the way the shaping goes, and I know how it'll block out, so I know how much positive ease I will get. So that'll be fun, and that'll be a little bit down the road. It's definitely once I finish one of these shawls. I like to only have 3 projects going at a time. Any more than that, and then nothing gets finished. So, like I said, I have a hard project, I have a medium project, and then I have a super, super easy project, which is about where I'm at. So, I also have plenty of yarn to cast on for socks, so that'll be happening soon. I'm super excited to be using the Natural Sock Base by Woolly Mammoth Fibers, which I have a couple sample sizes for. So I have some socks to be cast on soon. But like I said, only 4 projects. I gotta focus. Let me see what else I am considering. I don't know. I have a lot queued up, and I'm trying not to get carried away and just cast on all the things. Just like any knitter. I will share with you, though, again, I got more Croy sock yarn, and I think I'm actually going to have to go get more. So since I enjoyed knitting with this so much, and it's fun variegated yarn with a bunch of different colors and stripes and stuff like that, and I also got this blue. What I'm thinking is casting on for the crop top that Andrea Mowry did. That's very similar to the Nightshift. I forget the name of the crop top, but I might be doing that as well. I mean, crop tops are in, so why not just knit all of them? But I believe I will need more yarn for that, so I'm holding off. I'm like, because I might just make the cowl or something, or just make socks. We'll see. We'll see. Oh, I do have another current project. We'll talk about sewing now. We will move on. So I have been in the process of cutting out all of the projects that I want to sew. So right now, what I have going on is the Gym City Shorts by Purl Soho. I have knit these. I say that every time. I've sewn these multiple times. I think this might be my 5th or 6th pair. So these are fabulous summer shorts, and I am finally actually knitting. Oh my goodness. I'm finally actually sewing them in linen, which is super, super exciting. So I have this like old linen that I bought that I actually used to make a purse with, because I didn't know anything about fabric. I was like, oh, that looks durable and strong for a purse, and so whatever. And then I'm using the same blue linen that I have on my apron here. So those are a work in progress. I will probably finish those up today because it's warm weather and it's nice to wear some shorts. So I'd say the only thing that I'm really bad at, guys, is cutting out my bias tape on a bias. So don't get mad at me, okay? Slow down before you start going to write an angry comment to be like, what the heck? Bias tape means you cut it on the bias, because then you have the proper stretch or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm just living in ignorance, and I'm accepting that, and I'm just like, I'm just not going to read about why bias tape is bias tape and what the purpose is of it. I'm just going to cut some straight strips, and I'm just going to use them as is, because to me, it's my own personal project. I don't really care if there's a couple little, it's not perfect. I'm not giving them to anyone. Also, it saves me fabric, and I still have quite a bit of this linen, and I have plans for it. So I don't want it to all be cut gross. I want it to look pretty. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on. What I have lined up to sew is what I would like to share with you next, because I think I talked about how I went sort of on a purchasing spree, and I bought all the fabric that I needed to make certain projects that I had in mind. And the first one here is the Dottie Angel dress. This is 1080. I don't know if it has an actual name. But there it is. So I have the pattern actually cut out. I have the size that I'm going for. I'm doing dress A, which is this one, which doesn't have which is dress length and then doesn't have the extra swatch of fabric. So that's my goal anyways. I believe I have enough fabric. I think I have 2 yards, which I'm supposed to have 2.5. So we will see. We will see how it goes. I might modify it. I might just modify the length. I might end up just doing the tunic. That's okay with me. But that I just need to cut the fabric out. So right now I have all of my pattern pieces prepped. I just need to get it onto the fabric. So the next one will be another Scout Tee by Green Line Studio. I have already made this once, and it's in a really cute little Alice in Wonderland fabric that my friend gifted me. And I actually want to make it out of linen. Probably going to use that blue linen or the other linen that I have available. That will be, well, I don't know. I'll cut it out, and since this is like something that I could sew in under an hour, I'll probably make this before I make the dress or this skirt. So the next one I have is a button-down skirt. I considered improvising this myself, but I don't have the best luck doing that. I think it's just because I am very inexperienced when it comes to sewing clothes and to knowing my own body shape, that it really is best for me to follow a pattern. Plus, I spent money on the fabric that I have, and I don't want to waste it. So I thought getting a pattern would be the best thing, and I'm super excited because this is going to be a wonderful piece that will hopefully be able to be worn year round. And right now I'm going with length B, which is like knee length. So that way, you know, it's not like super 80s. It's sort of popular. But yeah, that's the sewing projects that I have lined up. I have 4 whole days off. So I have today off, I have Saturday, I have Sunday, and I have Monday. But I am driving up this weekend to visit my family, and that's about 2 hours away. So I may or may not have very much time to get some crafting done. But hopefully I can make some good progress on sewing projects today. That is if I don't get distracted by all the other stuff I want to make. Because I have been kind of distracted by painting. I have quite a few projects that I have in my brain that I just want to work on and I really want to bring to life. But they are somewhat beyond my artistic ability right now, so they take a lot of sketching and planning and practicing. And the funny thing is that what actually happens is, I'm really good at doing short naps. I'm super great at like a 15-minute nap. Like I'll just be like, wow, I'm really tired, and I'll close my eyes, and then I'll be, wow, I feel great. So I don't know where that came from. But I do that as a pick-me-up, like during the day, especially between my jobs, because sometimes I'll work in the morning at 1, come home for an hour or two, take a quick nap, and then leave for my next job. So what has been happening is I take these little quick 15-minute naps, and I always wake up with an idea for a new painting. And I'm just like, how do I remember this? Like, how do I get this down? So that I know how to make it how to make it once I actually have the time and the skill to do it. So it's kind of annoying, but it's also really fun. I don't know. It's weird. So yesterday that happened to me. So I started working on a little bit of something. This is definitely not finished. But I'm trying to do a peony. So florals, well, I shouldn't say florals, I should say flowers are not something I'm good at doing. I do not have a very good handle on shading and light and hue and tone when it comes to watercolor. But the peony is actually really helping me learn that and just figure out how to create depth and how the flower shape is built. So this is like my second attempt, and this is just me following a technique from a book that I have, which is Everyday Watercolor by Jenna. I can grab it, it's right here. By Jenna Rainey. So this is 30 Days of Watercolor. This is a really great book on basic watercolors. I highly suggest. If you're interested, it's also fun. She also has you do a lot of cool things, and each lesson you kind of have a piece. Like even if it's just like in the beginning, you're just like painting dots and squares, and just like doing kind of these abstract works. But you come away with it being like, wow, I just like painted something and it looks good. So this is what I've been doing. I go back and forth with this book, just to kind of learn some techniques and stuff when I need to. But yeah, so I was using her peony, practicing off of her peony. But then I found some other tutorials on Pinterest that just use different techniques, and so I was going to try those out. That's what I might end up working on today, since all my painting supplies are out on my desk. I've got too much. But I have done a lot of painting recently. I spent like one day and I painted like 3 different things. I finished another piece as a part of my 4-piece seasonal project, which I shared in the last episode, was my summer, which is the blue water. And I have kind of the next one, which is supposed to be fall, but I'm not completely in love with it. And I don't know if that's because I was painting several other things while also working on this piece, and I think I just did it a little bit too fast. I like the colors. I think the colors turned out good, but you can see the grass. I just feel like the idea of the grass kind of throws everything off. So I'm going back and forth on it. I think I'm going to reattempt this piece. Maybe do a couple more sketch tests and just really feel out what my intentions are, 'cause it's all about intentions, and what I'm trying to have this piece say. So, like I said, these ones that I'm working on are supposed to take a long time. I'm trying to really have them be finished paintings and not just little sketches that you can pull out and be like, oh, that's cool, that's nice. But like, oh, okay, these are 4 pieces, they work together, they have stories behind them, all that stuff. So I think making sure I paint them and strictly them and not be distracted by other things. But it's been fun. It's been really wonderful. And then sometimes I paint stuff and it just doesn't work out. I tried painting these oranges, which I really like, but I had this idea to do this whole finished piece with them, and it just didn't work out the way that I thought it would. So I ended up with cards instead. And I actually wrote that as like, I guess my affirmation, would that be the right word, for April, which was just like, I'm going to make mistakes. That's a normal human thing to do, and that's completely fine. And if your mistake, you can fix it, that's great, and if you can't, move on. it's done. You can't do anything else about it. Just try your best to get over it and move on. But I don't really have anything more to say about that. It's kind of just where I'm at with painting and artwork. The last thing that I would like to share with you today is something that I really, really have been enjoying. And that is a knitting podcast, a knitting art podcast. It's called the Green Bean Podcast. Hopefully, a lot of you already know of her. Katie Green, or Kate Green, it's one or the other, because her name is now escaping me. She has a lovely, lovely podcast. She does it a little bit more vlog style, so she'll sit down one day and talk a little bit about what she's making, and then she'll show some footage of her taking her really adorable dog for a walk, or just something that she did during the week. And it's just, I don't know, I've been binge watching them. They're just lovely. They're just a lovely experience with some beautiful scenery and then gorgeous knitting and like lovely artwork as well. So I just can't say enough about her. She's got a really good thing going. I highly suggest you watch her stuff. Support her if you can. I actually just bought her latest zine, so I bought the physical one because I want that. I'm super excited for it. So I have plans to definitely, there's sewing projects in it, and there is knitting patterns in it. I'm so excited to get it. Plus all of her artwork and little stories and all this stuff. So I am thrilled to have found her, and if she ever watches this, thank you for sharing and for teaching me stuff. You're one of the special ones. Okay, so that's all that I had to share today. Thank you for watching, as always, and I hope to see you soon.